Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging headfirst into Squid Game Season 3. Seriously, one of the most anticipated global releases of the year.
Absolutely.
And we've got a massive stack of sources for this one. A full review script, tons of web feedback consolidated, critic highlights, even cultural analysis. It's all here for you.
Right. And our mission, really, for this deep dive is to try and distill the essence of the global conversation around this phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
We want to help you understand not just what people are saying, but maybe why it resonates so deeply.
Yeah.
Or, why certain parts might not land quite as well for everyone.
Yeah.
And just a reminder, Squid Game Season 3 dropped globally today, June 27, 2025. So it's fresh out there.
That's right. So for anyone maybe just jumping into the Squid Game universe now, it's a Korean survival thriller, psychological drama streaming only on Netflix. The creative force, the main guy, is Hwang Dong-hyuk, acclaimed director, writer. Already got Emmys, Golden Globes for this.
Yeah, he's got the pedigree.
Totally. And if you loved those scores from seasons 1 and 2, I mean, they're so crucial.
Oh, incredibly important. The atmosphere.
Exactly. Well, Young Jae-il is back doing the music again, crafting that, chilling soundscape.
Good. That's really good news.
And we see the main cast returning. Lee Jung-jae as Gi-hun, of course. Plus, Lee Ho-jun, Lee Byung-kun, Ams Arwan, Kang Han-wol, and Park Sun-hoon are all in the mix.
Okay, so setting the stage without giving too much away. The basic premise picks up after that failed rebellion we saw hints of.
Right.
Gi-hun, our protagonist, he finds himself pulled back into these twisted games.
Again, you knew it was coming.
You kind of did. But what seems crucial this season is it leads to even more brutal moral dilemmas. It feels like they've upped the ante there.
Okay.
And there's apparently an escalation in the VIP's cruelty, those masked rich guys watching.
More of them.
Seems like they're leaning into that more, yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe the biggest hook is a significant betrayal that really fundamentally shifts things on the island. So it sets up a pretty intense ride.
Okay, betrayal. That always gets people talking. We mentioned the anticipation. But that pre-release chatter, how did that actually build up? Were there specific things people latched onto?
Oh, absolutely. It wasn't just general we're excited buzz.
Yeah.
You had hashtags like hashtag Squid Game 3, hashtag Gi-hun Revenge.
Oh, those, yeah.
And hashtag Red Suit Returns trending like crazy. But then it got really specific. There was this huge rumor about a cameo from BTS V.
Oh, wow. V from BTS.
Yeah, the global pop star. Huge speculation. And when that rumor was officially busted, well, fans online literally said they felt clowned.
Ooh, that's rough.
It really shows how invested people get, even before seeing a single frame, and how quickly that excitement can sour if expectations, even rumored ones, aren't met.
Yeah, that's fascinating. And you could feel that buzz in the trailer reactions, too. I saw some Tamil YouTubers comparing the scale, like the visual scale, to Regini-level mass.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's high praise in that context. Huge impact.
Right, like superstar-level epicness. And then over on Reddit, people were going wild, theorizing crossovers. Like, could Squid Game connect to other big global franchises?
Interesting.
It just makes you wonder, doesn't it, how all this chatter, whether it's accurate or totally off base like the V thing, kind of shapes what you expect when you finally hit play.
It absolutely sets the stage, yeah. So, okay, moving into the reactions once it did drop. The immediate online stuff was pretty vivid. Twitter, X, just flooded. Comments like, so traumatizing yet epic. Filmy Beat summed it up as emotionally grueling, harrowingly violent. So yeah, it definitely struck a nerve.
You can tell it hits hard. And then there were those really direct, almost visceral reactions to specific characters, like Park Sung-hoon's character, Hyun-ju.
Oh, yeah.
People were tweeting things like, oh, my expletive god, Hyun-ju, you were so hot, hashtag Squid Game.
Okay. So it connects on multiple levels then.
Yeah.
Creating new fan favorites, clearly.
Definitely. That immediate gut-level reaction.
Well, that kind of raw fan sentiment, it really captures the show's dark appeal, I think. There was this Reddit quote that stuck with me. It sort of distilled the core dilemma.
What was it?
It said, I can't think of a better group of people who would be willing to mercilessly kill each other for the promise of wealth.
Wow. That's bleakly accurate to the show's premise.
Right, and that feeling was echoed all over the place. It highlights Squid Game's power, doesn't it? It mirrors these uncomfortable truths about desperation and inequality that make the show feel, well, disturbingly relatable somehow, even while you're recoiling from the violence.
That's a really good point. It's interesting then to see how the critics sometimes line up with that, and sometimes Not so much. What were the things fans really seemed to love, maybe even where critics had issues?
That's a great question. Because despite some critics finding fault, fans seemed really into the intensity of the new games.
Okay, like which ones?
Things like jump rope, hide and seek.
Yeah.
And apparently there's a new family betrayal game that really landed.
Ooh, that sounds rough.
Yeah. And Lee Young-jae's performance as Gi-hun, that dark, tortured performance, was just widely praised, people calling it one of TV's best. So it seems like those really visceral elements, the intense games, the core performance, the emotional weight, the morally gray stuff that really resonated with the audience, maybe even papering over some narrative issues for them.
So the raw emotion and Gi-hun's journey were key for fans. But, okay, flip side, what were those common complaints, the pain points that maybe both fans and critics agreed on?
Well, the VIP subplot, that came up a lot.
Us masked guys again?
Yeah, people felt it was kind of tonal off, maybe overused, just didn't quite fit sometimes. And some viewers felt the games themselves weren't quite as inventive this time around. Compared to season 1, maybe a bit repetitive.
Right, season 1 set a high bar for creativity there.
Exactly. And critics, especially, pointed out that the overall narrative sometimes felt bloated with side trails. Too many detours, maybe.
Okay, so it raises that question then. How do those criticisms affect your watch? Are you pulled in by the emotion but then distracted by, say, the VIPs or a slower plot point?
It's a balancing act, for sure.
So let's dig into those core strengths a bit more. Gi-hun's evolution, you mentioned his performance. It's a really central, right? From pawn to anti-hero, absolutely central. Lee Jung-jae's performance is just...
Yeah, a masterclass, as sources called it. You really see that whole transformation.
And the game design. Even if some felt repetitive, there were still strong moments.
Oh, definitely. Brutal, emotionally charged moments.
Yeah. That
family betrayal game we mentioned got a lot of applause for just how psychologically intense it was. And if you connect that to the bigger picture... It's clear the show is still doing that sharp social commentary, critiquing capitalism, inequality, power corrupting. It makes the games feel like more than just spectacle.
Right. They have meaning behind the brutality. Okay, now for the weaknesses people kept bringing up, that VIP arc, two-dimensional caricature. Sounds like it really didn't land well.
Yeah, that seems to be a consistent point of criticism. Didn't quite work for a lot of viewers or critics.
And what else?
Well, some of the twists involving supporting characters apparently felt a bit forced. Or maybe underdeveloped, like they weren't fully woven into the main story.
Okay, not quite earned.
Maybe. And then there's the pacing. Definitely mentions of a slower pace in episodes, 3 and 4. Some people called them laggy.
Right, that mid-season dip we talked about could impact the flow for some.
Yeah, exactly.
So with all these strengths and weaknesses, how does season 3 stack up compared to 1 and 2 or even other survival shows?
Well, the expert analysis seems to suggest it hits harder emotionally than season 2 did. It pulls on those heartstrings more effectively.
Okay, so more emotional resonance than S2.
Right. But maybe less innovative than season 1.
Right.
Which, was understandable. Season 1 was such a lightning-in-a-bottle moment.
True. Sets a very high bar.
Yeah. And even when you compare it to other big survival thrillers like, say, Alice in Borderland, Squid Game still seems to lead when it comes to the depth of its themes and the focus on character. That seems to be its real unique selling point.
That makes sense. Okay, let's shift gears slightly. Let's talk technical stuff. The direction, Hwang Dong-hyuk's work, still bold.
Definitely described as bold. Also darker, gritty, emotional. Though interestingly, some noted an occasional Netflix thriller patterned feel.
Huh. What does that mean? Like familiar tropes?
Maybe leaning into certain stylistic things you see often in Netflix thrillers. A slight sense of formula, perhaps, for some critics.
Gotcha. And the screenplay.
Generally praised for tight emotional beats and really digging into those heavy ethics. But some episodes apparently tried to do too much.
Right.
There was this one colorful quote saying it felt like biryani without chicken.
Okay, so lots of ingredients, maybe missing the core substance sometimes.
That seems to be the sentiment, yeah. Editing was mostly called crisp, but again, those middle episodes dragged a bit. The finale, though, apparently keeps the pace strong. So it finishes well.
Good to know. And the look of the show. Cinematography.
Oh, yeah. Huge praise there. Really deep in the visual symbolism. Details like rain-soaked betrayal, that cold island lighting.
Yeah.
Creating a really visually powerful, immersive feel.
And the music? Young Jae's score.
Hits hard. Really hard. Especially Gi-hun's theme coming back. It lands with such an emotional charge. Really amps up those big dramatic moments.
Yeah, you can imagine. Acting-wise, Lee Jung-jae steals it, you said. Anyone else stand out?
Well, Park Sung-hoon, playing Hyun Ahmed, he got a lot of fan love.
Yeah.
Became a real standout. Created that unexpected teen heartthrob moment, which is kind of funny for such a dark show.
Right. And the overall production looks expensive.
Oh, yeah. Described as mainland-level scale. Really premium sets, effects. You can see the money on screen. They clearly invested heavily.
Okay. So beyond the show itself, the cultural footprint, that's always huge with Squid Game. You mentioned memes emerging already.
Mm-hmm. And Tanglish.
Yeah.
Slang, that mix of Tamil and English popping up in relation to the show. And that jump rope scene, it apparently exploded on TikTok, became a remix template.
How many posts?
Get this, 41 million posts using it as a template.
41?
Yeah.
Wow, that's staggering. What does that level of just organic, fan-driven stuff tell us about its pull?
It's incredible, right? It suggests the show has gone way beyond just being entertainment. It's part of the global conversation, generating its own culture.
Yeah.
And we're seeing these unique analogies pop up, too, like people describing it as Air Around meets Black Mirror, mixing gritty social realism with sci-fi critique. Or Gi-hun's comeback being compared to a Regini-style twist, like an iconic interval moment in a classic Indian film.
Wow, really specific cultural comparison.
Exactly. So what does it all mean? It's not just a TV show hitting screens. It's a genuine cultural event that creates its own language, its own references, shows how broad its appeal really is.
Absolutely. Okay, so based on everything we've unpacked here, who is this deep dive into Squid Game Season 3 really for? Who's going to love it?
Well, definitely fans of emotional drama who want that depth mixed with thrill. Survival game junkies, obviously. Global binge watchers who want the next big thing.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe even those Tamil sin lovers who appreciate those mass intensity analogies we talked about. It has that epic feel for them.
Okay. And who might want to maybe sit this one out?
Well, if you're just tired of bleak violence or constant moral darkness, this might be too much. It sounds like it doubles down on that.
Yeah.
Also, those fans who found Season 2 a bit slow, they might find the pacing here still a bit challenging in parts.
Right, that mid-season lag.
Yeah. And maybe viewers who are purely looking for super clever, inventive games over the heavy moral stuff, they might be a bit disappointed if the focus is more character and theme this time.
Gotcha. And the verdict on how to watch?
Consensus seems to be fully OTT streaming online. Watch it on a big TV, maybe a projector if you have one, to get the best feel.
Right, cinematic experience at home.
Exactly. Sources say it's worth the wait, but probably not something you need to rush out to a theater for, even if that were an option. It's built for that immersive home binge.
Makes sense.
And there was this closing punchline from the sources in Tanglish that kind of sums it all up perfectly.
Oh, yeah. Let's hear it.
Okay, it goes. In this season, Mass plus Class, Otis Squidku, Crown Kudutha Matiri, Oru Game Ila, Ori Life Level Experience. Netflix La Naraya shows Iruku, Aana in the Squid Game, Emotion Cash, Pani Kudukuro Anga.
Okay, translation for us.
Roughly. This season, it's like crowning Squid with Mass plus Class. So popular appeal plus quality. It's not just a game, it's a life-level experience. Deep impact. Netflix has many shows, but this Squid Game, they really cash in on emotion.
Wow, cashing in on emotion. That feels very apt for Squid Game.
Doesn't it? Hits the nail on the head.
And it's interesting, too, comparing the scores. Metacritic has it at 70 out of 100. Generally favorable. Pretty good.
Solid.
But then the social buzz, the fan reaction, points towards something like a 9 out of 10 for emotional impact.
Right. That's quite a difference. Suggests maybe the raw emotional connection with the audience is stronger than what the average critic score reflects. It hits viewers harder on that gut level.
Yeah, that tracks.
And hey, before we wrap up, a couple of intriguing bonus details we found.
Oh, yeah. Little tidbits.
Yeah. Apparently there's a Cate Blanchett cameo.
Cate Blanchett? Seriously? As who?
As a recruiter for the games. Which, definitely sparks speculation about a potential U.S. expansion or spinoff down the line.
Whoa, okay. That's a big hint, potentially.
Right. Plus, the show apparently brings back a lot of familiar Season 1 motifs. The red suits, the masked elites, more games driven by symbols.
Weaving in that nostalgia.
Exactly. Connecting back, signaling continuity for the longtime fans.
Okay, lots to chew on there. So, given everything, the deep social commentary, the massive global cultural impact, What does Squid Game Season 3 really tell us about what audiences want right now? This blend of extreme, sometimes brutal entertainment with these really stark critiques of our society.
That's the big question, isn't it? What is this massive appetite for stories that are both thrilling and deeply unsettling about the world we live in?
Yeah, something to definitely ponder until our next deep dive.